Now, if you're struggling with an overly open club face in your golf swing, maybe that's resulting in a stall out in rotation, or maybe even you're struggling with a slice shot out there. So in this video, I'm going to get into 3 main reasons to why you could be struggling with an open club face in your golf swing, and as well a fix for all those 3 reasons. So I'm Jonathan Chown with JChownGolf. Let's dive right into it. So the first reason to why you could be opening your club face in the golf swing, and that is because you are cupping your lead wrist in the golf swing here. So you are creating this cup angle in your left wrist in the backswing, and then it's maintaining in the downswing. Now, for that to open up your club face, you either need to be having a standard or a weak grip, because if you cup your left wrist with a strong grip, that will actually result in a square club face. So I'll put a video up there for wrist angles and wrist angle matchups with grip. But if we've got a normal standard grip or a weak grip, you are going to be causing an open club face with that cup left wrist. So for this example here, let's just say we've got a standard grip here. So with my standard grip, if I get up to the top of my backswing with a cup left wrist, it's going to open up the club face. So that's my lead wrist angle being cupped, or extended being another word, because you can see if I make it flat, club face is square. If I make it bowed with a standard grip, that will make it quite closed there. So I normally see a cup left wrist come into golfers' swings quite early on in their backswing, usually around midpoint of the backswing. Now, that is quite often because a lot of golfers are trying to really over-exaggerate their wrist hinge. Now, when you really try to gain a lot of wrist hinge in the golf swing, if you do that by just vertically hinging your wrists up, you're going to create a cup in your left wrist there. So I'm not saying don't hinge your wrists. Definitely you need some wrist hinge. It helps you to hit the ball a decent distance, but we don't need to over-exaggerate that feel. So if we can get past the midpoint in our backswing where the left arm's parallel to the ground, right when we'd have that decent wrist hinge, if we can do that with a flat left wrist, and there's a good chance we're going to have a flat left wrist at the top as well. So what we're going to do, a really simple drill that's not only going to guarantee us having this flat left wrist and getting rid of our cup left wrist in the backswing, but it's also going to help us maintain it in the downswing, because of course that's why we want the club face to be square. We want it to be square through the golf ball so the club face isn't open. So all we need is a tee, and we need a glove on here. So what we do, we grab the tee, we put it in the front side of our glove, so the glove logo side. Now, if I try to cup my left wrist, that tee is going to jab into my side or into my forearm there. So ultimately, I don't want that to happen. I'm going to feel the pain. So ultimately, I just want to swing up to the top of my swing and keep and prevent that tee from jabbing into my forearm there. And you can see straight away, I've now got a flat left wrist. So for a lot of you guys out there who are trying to get a lot of wrist hinge, there's definitely an area in your swing you don't need to over-exaggerate. But if you're trying actively to get that more wrist hinge, having that tee in the glove will help you, so you're not doing it via cupping your left wrist. So it's going to help you massively. So then we need to think, right, I just want to keep and prevent that tee from jabbing into me in the downswing. Then my left wrist is going to be flatter in the downswing too. So a lot of you who maybe have a good wrist structure at the top and cup it in the downswing, it's a brilliant one for you as well. Let's keep that left wrist flat all the way through. We'll know that we're doing that if we're not feeling any pain in our forearm there. So if we get enough reps in getting that flat left wrist with that standard grip, we'll definitely be having a squarer club face. So the second reason I see players are opening up their club face in the swing is from excessively rolling their lead forearm in the backswing and in the early takeaway there. So this is a very classic open club face move that a lot of golfers struggle with who have this problem. And that will be they getting into setup and straight away their hands will disconnect from the body. They'll be rolling that lead forearm to where the underside of their forearm will be pointing down towards the ground. You can see again, if I have got a standard grip doing this, that club face is going to be wide open. It's also going to whip on the inside. But you can notice as well how my hands are further away from my body than they were at setup there. So if we continue to do that through our golf swing, that club face is going to remain open. How I see quite a lot of players kind of somewhat match this move up, but it won't really result in a good golf shot. They'll be rolling their forearm, they'll get to the top, either they will reorganize their shaft to the top by disconnecting their trail arm, creating a cup wrist that we just talked about, but as well then, that will result in a steep shaft. I might even see players get very laid off from that, re-roll their forearm in the other direction, get steep again. So it's a movement that we just really can't play with all too much. So how we fix this is a really simple drill. And it's a drill a lot of golfers can do, even if you're not struggling with this problem, because it really helps you have a really stable club face off the golf ball. Because this is a problem that really starts off in the takeaway. It's a takeaway drill. So when we said all the things, the characteristics that come from rolling your lead forearm, one of them was your hands getting further away from you in that takeaway. You could even view the butt end of the club getting further away from me in the takeaway. But look where that butt end of the club's pointing. It's pointing down the target line now. So if I can think here that I'm getting that butt end of the club to either point at my trail leg here, you can see if it's pointing at my trail leg, you can see in my takeaway move, that left forearm hasn't rolled. Underside of the forearm still pointing a little bit up to the sky. Club face is lovely and square. That's going to give me that better takeaway position. But if I wanted to extreme this move, maybe even I'm someone who really has an extra rolly forearm and I want to extreme it as much as I can, I'll grab a tee, I'll put the tee in the butt end of the club so I can see even more so now where that butt end of the club's pointing. I could even think, right, I want to over exaggerate it. I'm going to get this tee pointing behind my body in the takeaway. So you can see if I do that as just a feel and almost a feel orientated drill, that's going to give me the exact opposite type of movement there, which is important to make a change. You need to feel at times the opposite move. So if I have that tee, do the rolly forearm, it's going to be pointing away. If I over exaggerate it, point it behind me, it's going to get me the exact opposite feel. So I'd want to do a few of them before I go and take that club back. And then I'd really just want to make sure that as I'm going back in my swing, I'm feeling that tee is pointing at my trail leg. It can almost feel like it's brushing my trail leg here. So here we go, let's do one. And if we do that, we'll be making sure that we won't be rolling our club face and rolling our forearms. Club face will stay a lot squarer in our swing. So the third reason to why we could be opening up that club face through the golf swing is a weak grip. So this is the one that probably a lot of you would have thought would be the very first one. And definitely it is common, that's for certain. So this is a weak grip if you're not matching it up with the correct wrist angle. So let's talk about it. So weak grip, what is it? So for me, for a right-handed golfer, my left hand on the golf club to where I've got that left hand on and I'm looking down, I'm seeing only one knuckle on that left hand grip there. Now with my right hand, it's on the golf club to where the palm is pretty much on top of the grip, just like this. And you can see that V that gets created between my thumb and the meat of my hand, that line, that arrow. It's pointing at my left hand side there. So if I keep my left wrist completely flat through this, like I would do with a standard grip, that club face is going to be horrendously open throughout my whole golf swing there. So as you can see, we wouldn't want to be doing that for certain. We definitely wouldn't. So what are our options to be able to fix this? One, we could add some bow into the left wrist to square off the club face. Now that's dependent on how weak your grip is. If your grip is very, very weak, we would need to change the grip a little bit. But if your grip is only slightly weak to where you look down at your left hand and you're seeing maybe 1.5 knuckles, it would be a little bit more advantageous for you to bow that left wrist. This is what I do in the golf swing. I have a 1.5 knuckle golf grip. I've played with that the entire time I've played golf. I've never changed my grip. I just match it up with flexing my left wrist. Because like we said with the first reason there, cupping the left wrist opens the club face. But if we have a weak grip, we need to bow it. That's our only option we have to be able to fix this problem. So that exact same drill I showed you in the first one for cupping the left wrist with the tee in the front side of the glove. And if you've only got a very slightly weak grip, this will be the one for you to do. So you would want to, instead of keeping and preventing that from jabbing into your forearm, that tee, just lying it flat there, you'd actually want to create some space between the tee and your forearm. And that will get you that square club face if you've only got a slightly weak grip. So doing that from there, that's going to really then, of course, keep it flexed in a downswing, keep that separation between the tee and the forearm. Like I said, this is the way I do it. So it can work. We see guys on tour, Jordan Spieth, for example, Tony Finau, same things. Now, if I get up to them, John Rahm, get up to the top of my swing, let's hit a shot here. That's really going to help me keep a square club face without having that grip standard. So I would only recommend it if you're 1.5 knuckles. If you're very weak, 1 knuckle, for example, and really over with your right hand, it will be way more sense just to strengthen up your grip to a standard grip. So that would be, of course, when we're looking down at the golf club, making sure we're seeing 2 to 2.5 knuckles on that left hand, and then we're seeing with our right hand that line that gets created between our thumb and the meat of our hand. That arrow is now pointing up to more around my right trap area here. That will feel extremely awkward for a lot of you if you've gone from a really weak grip to that. It will feel pretty bad, but grip changes do feel horrible when you first start doing it. So that will be really getting comfortable with that, really hitting a decent amount of balls just to feel comfortable when you're making a grip change. I also say to students, it'll be really, really important for you to get rid of that uncomfortable feeling when you're not even hitting the golf ball. So how would you do that? You sit at home, you might look funny to your family. Just sit at home holding a golf club with that new grip. It will really help speed up the comfort level of that grip massively. It's what one of my old coaches used to tell me if I was obviously making a grip. I've made grip changes to my right hand, not so much my left. So I've definitely done this a little bit in the past, but that will be massive for helping you being a little bit more comfortable with your grip. So that'll make it a little bit easier, and then we can just keep that flat left wrist, and it'll be so much easier for us to have a square club face. So guys, there are 3 reasons right there for why you are opening up the club face. 3 really common ones and a fix for all those reasons. So again, why we want to fix an open club face, because of course, if we continue to have an open club face in the downswing, ball is most likely going to go out to the right because a club face will most likely be pointing right of our club path, create a slice shot. But also from there, we know a lot of people stall out their body rotation going through impact because their club face is very open. The body has to stop its rotation to square the club face up via a flip or via a casting movement. So having a square club face is such a fundamental thing for the golf swing. It's really, really important to do. Once you have a square club face, golf becomes a lot easier to do. So if you found this video helpful, make sure you click that like button. And if you want more golf instruction just like this, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell button too to be notified every time I put out a video. So let's get that club face square and you'll be playing better golf.